Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We've been working on this Gottlieb Royal Flush pinball machine for a customer. Very cool game. We haven't completely got it going yet, but we've been systematically working through it while we kind of solve the problems as we notice what's wrong with it. So we did a video where we looked it all over and we worked in the mech board on the bottom. In the first video we got her up and running. The second video we fixed some other little issues that were going on, as well as the player unit in the back. And now we are up to, it's not scoring right. So we're going to keep working through it. We're trying to make the point that basically you have to clean everything in the machine if they've been sitting a while. So we're kind of trying to illustrate that. Let me add a credit to it. And we'll see what she wants to do today. Alright. Didn't kick the ball. Did I not have the ball in there? Yeah, the ball's not in it. Okay, so what did we do with the ball? I think I took it out because I didn't want it to scratch the playfield. Gotta have that. Alright, so ball and play one, player one. That is going to have something to do with that. It was scoring a little bit. Chime, it wasn't working. Hear the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you heard the doom. That was because it rolled over to 1,000. But yeah, some of the other scoring wasn't doing its thing. So the 1,000 is, the 100 is. What was the one? We've got score reel stuff that's not quite right. And this wasn't doing anything. It says 1,000 and special when lit. So we've just got issues going on where it's not scoring right. It needs work. So I think the next thing that we're going to mess with are the actual score relays in the back. We haven't cleaned any of that yet. We cleaned everything on the bottom of the cabinet, but nothing on the bottom of the playfield yet. We didn't clean the Jones plugs yet, and we didn't clean these relays yet, which are the point relays and the reset relays. So I guess that's next. Let's let me do the point relays next and see if that gets us our chime back. The one chime that's not working. I didn't even look at the chime unit yet, so it could just be something on there. But if one of these switches is misadjusted, it will also not score the chime whenever the relay pulls in. So let me look at those first and see what we can find out. Okay, so I've cleaned all of the point relays. The reset relays, which won't have anything to do with our scoring issue. And then this relay, the F, this little stepper unit that's used for the match. And then there's a couple switches on there that are used for the special. I cleaned the Jones plugs where that plugs in. I cleaned the Jones plug for where the 3-ball. I cleaned the Jones plugs where the cabinet plugs in. And this one where the playfield plugs in. There's 2 more down there where the playfield plugs in. I cleaned all them too. So I've been cleaning some Jones plugs. It's been about an hour. So let's see if messing with those point relays had anything to do with it not, the chime not working. We're just systematically moving through it and seeing what fixes as we go. We haven't done the score reels themselves yet. So let's see if we get a different deal on our chimes now. Alright, so you're the but no chime. The 1,000 though. That one works. And then we've got a 10 somewhere. I wonder what that would be. Maybe that's this. Okay. So the 10 is working. The 1,000 is working. The 100 just isn't working. And that hole isn't really working. You're not scoring the points that you're supposed to. Okay, so let's look at the chime and see if we can figure out why the 100 chime doesn't chime. So here's the chime unit. It actually seems like that the plunger is stuck. See it? So it should be down, but instead it's up there. So let's see if it'll just fall down if I mess with it. Well, that was easy. I wonder if it'll move now, though. Ow. Good way to get yourself cut. Oh, here we go with our filmography award again. I just can't flick it enough. Yeah, it got stuck again. Okay, so we're going to have to take that apart. All right, let's do that. I'm going to go ahead and unconnect the wiring here. They've probably moved it around to get the wrong one to chime or something. Who knows? But this is how they have it hooked up. So we'll try to hook it up like that again whenever we put it back in. But let me remove that from the game. So this is Gottlieb's beautiful chime unit. Very nice little design. It has a resonator box here that's made out of plastic. And then it has a plate here with a couple pieces stamped out of it that are then bent down to hold the resonator box. Two little self-tapping screws or whatever that hold the box in place. Then there is another plate. Now you'll notice the main plate there too. The end of it is just bent to create the support that mounts on the wall of the pinball machine. And then there's another plate that is bent to hold it together. So it's just two plates. And if you look up here, look how cool this thing is, the way it was designed. This part is bent to hold the bars. So the whole thing is like one big piece of metal that's been bent like 3 or 4 different ways. And then the part that holds the bars, if you look, there is a small piece that's bent the other way that holds the other side of the bar. I dare I say, it's a better design than the Bally. Sorry, I love the Bally stuff, you know I do. I've done so many videos about the Bally chime units. This one's a little bit better because they made it all out of one piece or 2 pieces. So I'm going to remove this because on this particular one, this one plunger is stuck. The other 2 aren't. Let me see if I can do it where you can hear it. So one chime's not working. The other 2, see the plungers down there? But this one is in there. It's just stuck in the middle. Sometimes that means it's overheated, but if you mess with it, it's still moving in there. So it didn't overheat enough that it burned up the coil. It's just stuck. It's like physically getting stuck. So a new sleeve will probably fix that. So let me pull off this piece, and then we can look at it as well. So here's the other piece. So they have just a bent piece with holes strategically stamped in it. And then they're just using a regular, like a coil, you know, I'm sure that's probably the same part used on the flipper, to just hold that piece. And then the sleeve has a hip on it. So when it sticks through the top, it creates its own little mounting surface. So they have like just simplified this design to the point of beauty. Let's see if that little part is the exact same as what's on the flippers. So there's the flipper. And there is the chime. Yeah, it's the same part. Or if it's not, it's so close. I mean, it's got to be the same part, right? See the little thing in the middle there for structural support? Look, it's the same exact part. Just a heck of a design. But look at what an engineering masterpiece that is. Now, I realize a lot of stuff was like this, but just look how well that was done. That's one piece of metal that was stamped, and then these are bent back in 2 different locations, so they hold the resonator. The whole end is bent up so that you can use it to mount it on the wall. And then the top is bent both forward and backwards so that it holds the bars. And then they have these little rivets or posts or whatever you want to call these in there. I think they're riveted. Well, not rivet, but pressed. And then there's just a little, you can see there's a couple little wafer washers in there, and then there is the rubber grommet that holds the chime bar in place. And notice that they're loose. That's true on the Bally's too. You want these to be loose because that means they ping, like they'll resonate better. Just what a beautiful design. It is perfectly designed. You couldn't make it any simpler than that. But this wouldn't be super expensive to reproduce. I wonder if people are doing it yet. You really have two really crazy... This one's not even that extreme. That's a pretty easy bend there, you would think. This one's a little bit different. I don't know if that all has to be done by hand, the bends, or if a machine can do it. I guess a machine can do anything. Pressing the posts in would be a little bit of a job. But it's probably about as easy as you can possibly do it. Just what a wonderful design. Okay, the one that's stuck, there's just the inside of the sleeve had like some almost like dirt in it, like it almost seemed like sand or something. So I want to clean that out with a rag, like a fine paper towel, and just get where all three of them are moving through all three of them fine, and that should fix our problem. Easy peasy. All right, so we got it back together. 3 plungers, here we go. What do you think? All right, so it's doing its thing. It doesn't sound right because if they hit it and stop, it doesn't sound the same. So, or it just has to hit it real quick, right? But what a beautiful design on the Gottlieb 3 chime unit. All right, folks, so back at it. I got it back in there, got it wired up. I did reverse those 2 wires because as I read the schematics, the 2 were switched, it seemed like. So before the hundreds wasn't working, I think they had moved the 10s to the 100. I think it was reversed. So, but they all should work. So this is the thousands. It should be the same as it was. Our hundreds should be what the 10 sounded like before. And our 10s should also, this is the one we haven't heard yet. Very cool. So I think that's right. So that's 10. That's hundreds. And that's thousands. So we got the chimes working. Very cool. All right. So in the back box, all that's left is the switches on the replay wheel. That seems to actually be working fine. And cleaning all of the score reels. Okay. And we've still got scoring issues here, though. Like, this isn't acting right, I don't believe. This is 1,000 in special when lit. So we're not getting 1,000 points. So we need to work on the underside of the playfield. So let's lift that up and start messing with that. Maybe we'll see if we can figure out exactly what that problem is first. Okay, so looking at the schematics, when the ball lands in the hole, it pushes this switch down, which closes that switch. You know, that red plastic actuator closes that switch. And all that does is turn on the G relay. So the G relay is down here in the bottom. We've already cleaned it. The whole relay. So the whole relay has several switches on it. One of the switches ejects the ball. So the whole relay pulls in and holds itself on. It starts the score motor turning. And one of the switches holds itself on until the score motor gets to a certain place where a switch opens, which allows the G relay to turn off. Another switch on the G relay kicks the ball out at a certain spot. So one of the switches is now held on, and as the score motor turns, it gets to a certain spot, and it kicks the ball out. Another switch turns on the L relay, which is the 1,000-point relay. The L relay, whenever it comes on, it hits the chime and makes the chime ding, and it gives you 1,000 points. So it's a very simple circuit. The only thing involved is that switch that whole relay, and then the wiring in between. So if you just hit the G relay barely, enough for it to hold itself in, to start the score motor, and to kick the ball out. You hear it kicking, right? So that's what's going on right now. But if you hold it in a little tougher, there we go. So there's a switch on that that's not quite close enough. That's the whole problem. So I'm going to adjust that one more time, and then that should get it where our kick out hole scores its points every time. That is that switch right there. Turns on the L relay. These are the original schematics that came with the game. If you would like a copy of schematics for your game, the best place to get them is pbresource.com, the pinballresource.com. They are a company that makes reproduction Gottlieb pinball parts, and well, reproduction parts period, but they specialize in Gottlieb. But they do Williams, Bally, Chicago Coin, all that old stuff. Even stuff like Genco and Exhibit. So if you need pinball parts, that's a good place to go. And they can make you an exact copy of pretty much any schematic that you need. They have very few that they don't have. Okay, but looking on the schematics, that works through all of these switches on the motor, blah, 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 blah. And then there is a bunch of switches up here, 5B, 4B, 6B, 5B, 4B, and this I relay disc, which is the bonus unit. So all of this is because that value in that hole can change. You may have saw that there is a green light that comes on and a, oh, I may be wrong about the 1B, 2B, 3B, 4B. Let me look. That might be the, yeah, that's the sequence bank actually. 1B is the green joker, 2B is the white joker, 3B is the purple joker, 4B is the 2 jacks relay, 5B is the 2 kings relay, 6B is the 3 queens relay, 7B is the royal flush relay, and 8B is the 4th position bonus unit relay. So all of that is involved with making that hole score different amounts of points. So you can imagine just how incredibly important this bonus unit relay disc is. So we're going to clean that next. This is Gottlieb's little mini stepper unit. And look how they've cheated on this one. This is only a half stepper. They're just half stepping. Look. There's 5 wires, and then they're repeated by little jumper wires. So as this spins, now it's real dirty right now, so it won't be great, but this wire is connected to this wire, and then this long thing here is this ground here. So on the other side of that, you can't see it, but underneath this little thing, it's grounded. So it's grounding this wire in this position. And then whenever it turns one, this wire is connected to this wire here. So that wire is now grounded to the same one because, again, you can't see it, but on the other side of this, it's connected to this bottom. Then it moves again. Same thing, grounded to this one, which is connected to this one. So you're grounding that wire to this wire. I'm calling it grounded, but it doesn't have to be a ground. And on and on and on. Now, so usually these are used in like the match circuit and stuff, and there's 10 of them. But on this one, they've doubled them up. That's interesting. So I guess they only needed 5 positions, and then they just have it repeat for the rest of it. Instead of trying to use a completely different mech or something that only turns 5 times, they just reused this one with a few little jumper wires. Well, that's pretty cool. All right, so we're just going to clean this up like we typically do. This is the I relay, which is actually the bonus relay in this game. There is 2 alternating switches on it that look like they're backwards to one another. So the right one is closed and the left one is open. And now the left one is closed. Let me see if I can just get closer. Oh, okay, it's so it can reset. That's what that's going to be for. So open, closed, 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 open. So every sixth step, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it opens. That's so that they can reset it. So since it's used as a bonus unit, it's just going to keep click, 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 click until it opens, and then it knows that it's at whatever the 0 position is. Now this side, let's see what it does. See if it's the more traditional open, close, open, close. So it's open right now. 2, 3, 4, closed. Yeah, it's so it's the opposite. So this one is closed for 5 positions and then opens, and this one is open for 5 positions and then closes. What a cool design! They can do anything. And since it has less wires, they only need 1 Jones plug. So we did the match unit. I think it was on the previous video, and the match unit had 2 plugs. But I like how they make them where they can be removed from the cabinet. So we're just going to clean it the way that we usually do. I actually take this off. A lot of people advise against doing that because the problem is this board here can move. There's an adjustment on it. And if you get it out of adjustment, this won't line up right. And it's not just lining up on the pad, it's lining up this way too. So it's kind of complex. But what I do is I kind of remind myself where it is in relative to the name on it. So see how it's up above the name, and you can see some of the line back here, and I would say it's not even straight. It's a little bit crooked. Well, I just remember that and put it back exactly where it was. Usually there's kind of like a light stain there where it was too. And then on this side, you can see it's a little bit different. It's a little bit lower on this side. So see how it's cutting off the T's? You can just barely see the bottom of the second one. But to me, this one seems, yeah, it's a little crooked too. So anyway, I just do them one at a time, clean it. I put a little bit of super lube on it, and then go from there. This super lube, dielectric, we use this on all of the stepper units, anywhere that there's metal on metal. But on one of these, you don't want to go crazy with it. You just want a little bit. Just a little bit, because you don't want this to have to push through all of that crap. The whole purpose of it is it's supposed to make it smoother to skate around through it, so that you don't have the friction of the metal on the metal. So yeah, so if you want this, you can get this at a hardware store, or you can order it from our website. Go to lionsarcade.com. There's a parts page, and on the parts page there are a bunch of links to stuff we use in our videos. We always show this off because it's not quite as readily available as some of the other stuff. And whenever you click those links, like if you click this link, it takes you to Amazon, and you can buy it on Amazon. Now, if you buy anything on Amazon after you click the link, it gives us a tip. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that to support the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up, but let me go look first and see what these 2 switches do. I'm going to say that one of them is closed until it resets back to 0. And then this one, it's going to be something like when it steps the bonus all the way up, it makes the special work or something like that. That's my theory. And this is the I relay. All right, so here is the I relay, and one of them is a 0 position relay. So it's just used to stop the I relay whenever it gets to the 0 position, which it does with the O relay, which is the ball return relay. All right, so I guess it'll keep stepping up until it gets to a certain spot, and then it stops. Then it won't step up anymore. But then you also have this. Now, it will step up some more, because it'll step up this way through the E relay. The E relay is the bonus score relay. All right, so then you have this one. When it gets to the 4th position, this one closes. And that drops the 8B relay. Now see how there is a normally closed switch on the 8B coil that is the same lettering? What that means is this is a one-time coil. So basically it's a It's on a relay bank. Once that triggers, it will open a switch on itself where it can't be triggered again until it's reset. I'll show you that in the game. So 8B is the, if I can find it, 4th position bonus unit relay. Well, that don't help me much, so now I got to go figure out what that does. All right, so I looked through the schematics, and that 4th position switch, what it does is it opens up where the A relay can't be triggered, and the A relay has something to do with how the bonus is counted or something. I don't completely understand why they would do that, but we'll figure all that out. In the final video of this series, what we're going to do is look at the fairly complex bonus scoring that this game does. Royal Flush is known for having a kind of interesting rule set. Essentially, it's like you're playing cards. You drop certain drop targets and it does different things, so it's pretty cool. So, you know, the drop targets are card themed, so there's jacks and tens and things like that. So I got this cleaned up. Like I said, whenever you do one of these little ones, don't put a lot of grease on it. The switches I don't usually mess with. I just clean the contacts like we always do. But you just want to get it where the thing is stepping up. One time each time. Just like that. Now, on some of these, if you do it slow, sometimes they'll hang. This one's pretty good, but that's not how the game does it anyway. The game does it violently. It does it like this. So if it's working like that, you're good. This isn't the greatest design that Gottlieb ever had. I just showed you the Chime thing earlier and talked about what a great design that was. This, not so much. It just, they get gummed up and they don't work very well. And so every one of these games, this little thing isn't working right. Everything I learned about working on EM pinballs, I learned from Clay at pinrepair.com. He's just, you know, he was the first major guy that was putting stuff on the internet telling everybody how to do this. And he hates these things. He talks about how he doesn't even take it apart like we did. He just cleans them as best he can and runs with it. And that guy really knows his stuff. So it's just how it is. So that little thing earlier about the chime that I was showing, that you know how cool the chime worked and everything. I think what I'm going to do is, of course, you just saw that in this video here on YouTube. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just that part where we just show the chime unit. You know, this video is an hour long or whatever it is. Just that part where we just show the chime unit, and I'm going to separate that out into like a 5 or 6 minute long video. And then I'm going to upload that to our new Patreon channel. And I might have it come out, you know, a little bit before this one debuts, the full video or something. It's like a little sneak peek. But if you don't know about that, we've started a Patreon channel. And we thought about this for years, and there's the problem we had with the Patreon thing was we didn't want to put things on Patreon that you had to pay to watch or whatever, because some people can't afford to do that. You know, it's kind of a luxury thing. And so lots of people wanted us to do that. And it was like, hey, do Patreon. We'd like to support your channel with Patreon. But I want to make sure that all of our videos are free, you know. So you just saw that thing with the chime unit. So why would anybody want to see it on Patreon? Well, I think what we finally have came up with, and I think it's a good idea, is this video is an hour long, and we're talking about several different things in it. But that part with just the chime unit, that could be its own little video, right? That could be like a little 5 or 6 minute video. Now, that wouldn't be much here on YouTube because we do long form content that, you know, goes a while as we're working through this pinball machine. But in the future, somebody might want to see, hey, I've got a Gottlieb chime unit that I'm working on, blah, 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 and we can point them to that video. So what we've been doing is uploading little snippets like that out of the released videos that we've already done. We have 1,500 videos on YouTube. And hidden in the middle of all of those videos is all kinds of advice and information and repair tips and for pinball machines and arcade games and jukeboxes and all kinds of stuff, right? But they're kind of hid in there, and people email us all the time. I had a guy just earlier email me and say, hey, I'm clear coating a back glass with triple thick on my pinball machine. What do you do with the score windows? Because the video he was watching where he saw me talking about that, I didn't mention the score windows. But I've mentioned that like 10 other times. It's just he can't find that video because I've done it. There's probably 30 videos of us working on a back glass. So on Patreon, one of the things that we're putting on there is little topical snippets of videos where it's just, this is just about this subject. It's just about this subject. It's almost like little repair tips. And we're also putting some things on there that we can't use on YouTube. Like some things are, there's music playing, and YouTube won't let us upload that part of the video. We have to clip it out. But we can upload that full little clip on Patreon. Or maybe there's, the other day I found an old piece of footage of us messing with the Pac-Man board that we never actually fixed. But I had this one little piece of a video where I just started a video and we never did anything with it. So uploaded that on there. Here on YouTube it'd be kind of useless because nothing happened in it. So if you'd like to see stuff like that, or even a few things where we tried to fix something and couldn't, check out our Patreon channel. It's down below, the link to all of the videos. So we'll see you over there. But here on YouTube, everything's going to continue the same as it has been. You may, I guess, if you were on Patreon, you would see that little chime part before the full video came out, so I guess you get a little sneak peek of some stuff. But we're committed to making sure that these videos remain on YouTube, where people can watch them for free. So to us, that's important. And you might say, well, why is that important? It's because we were born poor. Some people, you know, they can't afford to spend a bunch of money on just all kinds of different stuff. And it's not a bunch of money, it's just a little teeny bit of money if you want to join Patreon. But we realize that, you know, it's kind of a luxury, and some people don't want to do that. Some people want to support the channel and help us out, and some people aren't really in a position where that makes sense for them. So we don't want to screw that up. So we're going to continue doing everything on YouTube the same, but we're also adding the Patreon thing. It's just another way to support the channel, and we've been doing it for a couple weeks now, and it's pretty fun. So we'll see you over there on Patreon. But I want to put this back in the machine and see if that fixes the hole. So I'm going to replace the lights that are on the hole and put this back in and see if that changes how it scores, how those lights work, and all of that. Let's see where we are with it. Okay, so I put it back in. It looks like somebody's already replaced all the lights, and you've seen what we've done. We haven't serviced half the stuff under the Playfield. I'm just trying to focus on specific stuff. So we reset it again. It appears that if you hit the rollovers or the stand-ups, that it will light these. So let's see. No. Okay, let's try this. That must have nothing to do with it. How do we advance the bonus? We got our green light. I love those chimes. Alright, so maybe, well, we haven't done any of the drop target stuff, but let's see if we get all 3 queens. It gave us 3,000, so that's cool. Alright, so for whatever reason that just says 1,000. Let's see if it'll score 1,000 and our chime works now. Ah, you heard that right. Doon, doon, doon. All right, so you see what's going on? So we do have the green, the white, and the red, and it's scoring all 3. It's just not lighting up the light. That makes sense. All right, so let's see if we can reset it. So I keep talking about this switch. The purpose of that switch is to cancel that. So whenever you open that, the ball falls through there and hits the switch, and it shuts the gate. That's all that switch is used for. So let's end the ball and then see if it resets that. And then we'll try it with 2 of them. Oh, we got it. Maybe it shook it shook some sense into it. So I was resetting all that. Yeah, we're going to get some fun out of this. Okay, so let's try that one more time. The red one, that time it wanted to cooperate. So what happens is when you hit that, or the rollover switch, it's dropping a relay underneath the playfield. And there is a switch on that turns on the light. So those switches we haven't cleaned yet, so that's why it's not working quite right. So that's the red one, and then let's try the white one that we can't see. All right, so I think both of those are lit up. So I think if we land in there, we'll get 2,000 points. I still got 3. 1,000 is special when lit. Doo-doo-doo. Are we going to get that every time? Let's try it. Let's try it again. So that clunk that you heard was it resetting those, and then there's also a relay bank that it resets. So let's try it with nothing dropped. 1,000. So let's try it with just the red. That's 2. Oh, we're getting 1 for landing in there. Now we're getting 2 because of that. So it's a 1,000 in special when lit. And I guess they may mean when the hole is lit. And now we're getting 2,000 because we're getting that one and the red one. If we drop the white one, now we'd get 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. And then if we drop the green one, the special is now lit. It was just lit. So who knows what we'll get. But we should get 4. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. I don't know if we're getting that because of the points, or if that's it giving us the special. Yeah, it's giving us the special. Okay, so it's kind of limping along. All right, let's mess with these relays here that do the red, the white, and the green. Red, white, green. Red, white, green. Let's mess with those and make sure that they're nice and clean. Everything's working properly on that. And then we'll see if that gets us the lights working properly and if we can get our 4,000 that we want. Okay, so this is the relay bank, and all this looks real scary, but there's really not much to it. First of all, there's several different ones. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and they're calling it 1B, 2B, 3B, blah blah blah. So all these wires, all the spaghetti, most of that you never have to mess with. And the relays themselves, because the blades are so long, there's a lot of throw in them. So what happens is, if you, we were just looking at the 8B one earlier or whatever, which is this one. But one of those, the green, the white, and the red rollovers, which are actually right here, one of those is this one. So let's say this one's the green one or whatever, right? Well, whenever it trips, whenever you do whatever it is that trips it, which in this case is you roll over the switch or you hit the stand-up switch, it trips this relay. And so that relay is actually sitting in there, and it pulls in that little plate. You can see the relay there. It pulls in that plate, which drops this actuator down, which moves the switches. So some of the switches, like this end one, were closed, but now it's open. And some of the switches, like that one, were open, and now it's closed. So it just does whatever they've got it designed to do. And it stays like that until the entire thing is reset by this coil. So usually it'll stay like that for the rest of the ball. And whenever the ball lands in the out hole, one of the things that it does whenever it's moving the player unit up and all that is it resets it. Right? And so this bar pulls in, and every one of those relays gets reset. Now here's the drop targets. Similar thing. Some of them drop. We haven't messed with these yet, but blah, 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 blah. They make switches close, and at whatever point that it does it, both of these coils pull in. There's 2 on this one just because there's so many of them. It's so wide. If you were pulling just from this end, that bar might actually bend before it's at the end, and you wouldn't be able to reset the bottom, the end one. You have that problem sometimes on some of the bigger drop target units. But they both pull in. They're both attached to that bar, and they reset all of the drop targets. So similarly, that's reset. So these were our 3 that we were just messing with. Green, white, and red, or whatever, whichever one is which. So what are these? Well, these have to do with which drop targets are dropped. But we'll mess with that next time. I'm just working on that hole this time. But here's the drop targets. And I'll just show you. You saw that they were queens, jacks, 10s, things like that. If you look on the back, there is a switch on every one of them. See it? So when this drop target drops, that little actuator hits the switch, and then it opens back up for the points. And then on the other end, the heel of the actuator thing, or whatever you want to call it, that cam, connects that switch. Right? When I get reset, the switch is open back up, and this one's open. All right, so I'll just let you think about it a little bit. We'll talk about it in the next video. All of these, there's a switch on the back of each one. We covered those in the last video on the, on a previous video, whenever we were working on the Jack-in-the-Box. It's a Gottlieb Jack-in-the-Box, does a very similar thing. Those are what score the points. And on the Jack-in-the-Box, it had switches up here that turned on lights in front of the drop target. So it would change it from 10 points to 100 points, or 100 points to 1,000 points, something like that. The light would light up. But on this one, there's no lights. So what do you think these do? And look at this. Some of them have two switches. Now, why would some of them have two switches and some of them only have one switch? It's kind of wild. So we'll talk about that next time. But let's put the playfield back down and see if cleaning these relays has made our green, white, and red and special light setup work. This is the special relay, KX. Same type of setup. There are 3 switches on it. I cleaned those 3 switches. So I would assume one of them turns on that light. One of them makes you actually score the extra man, and then who knows what the other one does. Okay, so let's put the playfield back down and play it and see if our kick-out hole is finally working now. Okay, so I've been looking over the schematics about how that section works. Now, I talked about the I relay, the little stepper unit that we messed with earlier. That has to do with some things, but that's not what happens with that hole. So it is connected to it. But let's just look at this one little part here. So okay, so we know that whenever the G relay pulls in, this switch closes, and that is actually what gives you the 1,000 points. This is the 1,000 point relay. So when the G relay closes, that gives you 1,000 points. And I mentioned that there were these other switches here, and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't look into it, but now I have, and it's pretty freaking awesome, like always. Look at the brilliance of the design of this. Once you see how they do it, you go, well, of course that's how they did it. But until you see it, you don't quite understand what they were working with. So there is a switch that runs it all that says motor 1A. Well, we already looked at that switch before. Motor 1A hits 5 times. So if you put a switch on that cam, when it gets to this point, this point, this point, this point, and this point, as the score motor turns, that switch will close. So that switch will close 5 times. All right? So if we go back up here and look, when our G relay pulls in, which is the hole relay, because the ball landed in the hole on the playfield, not to be confused with the out hole at the bottom of the playfield, but the ball lands in there and turns on the G relay, right? Well, that's going to hit 5 times. So power will connect through there, and that will be closed, and give you 1,000 points. And then it would do it 4 more times because the G relay holds on the whole time. So what is with all of these switches? Well, all of these switches are perfectly placed so that they open right when that switch closes. So when 1A closes, for instance, let's look at motor 2C. So the switch on 1A closes right here. That would give you 1,000 points. And then it would open again, and then it would close again here and give you another 1,000 points, except 2C, they have a switch on it that's normally closed that opens. So whenever that switch closes, this one will be open, 2C. Where are we? So when that one closes the first time, you get 1,000 points. And then the second time that it closes, you won't get 1,000 points because that switch is open. Ain't that a shame? My tears fell like rain. So you can't get 2,000 points, can you? Well, so the G relay closes, which also closes this switch. And if 3B has been dropped, you would still get it. You'd get that 1,000 points because it goes around it. So that switch would open, but this one would be closed. So the power would still go through, and the second time that 1A closes, you would get your points. Well, let's say that you hadn't dropped, let's say that's the red one, and you hadn't dropped the red one, you'd only drop the white one. So what happens? Well, the second time that 1A hits, this would be open, and that wouldn't be closed, but this one would be closed. So G would connect here, and it would go around there, and G is also connected there, and it would go, oh, you wouldn't get the points. So the second time, you wouldn't, if the white one was dropped, you just wouldn't get that second point. But when this one opened, so when it goes to 3, so it closes and opens, closes and opens. Well, now it's going to give you a third 1,000, but it can't because the switch at motor 3B has opened at the same exact time. They designed it like that on purpose, trying to take your 1,000 points. So now this switch is open. So as this hits, the motor's turning. It goes. The first time, because the G relay, the whole relay is closed, you get your 1,000 points. Now, if the ball is not in the whole relay, well, then the G relay is not on. So as that score motor's turning, which it does all the time for all kinds of reasons, none of this does anything. It's not going to give you any kind of points because that relay is open. But let's say the ball has landed in the hole. When it starts turning, the first time that it hits out of the 5, bam, you're going to get 1,000 points. The second time it hits out of the 5, you're not going to get anything because this switch is going to open. But you will get 1,000 points if you have just happened to drop 3B, which is, I guess I could probably tell you. It's the purple one. I was calling it the red one, but it's purple. It's the purple one. So if you've dropped the purple one, on that second hit, you'll get your 1,000 points. So that's how you get 2,000 points. And then it'll move on to the third position, and 3B will open, and you won't get those points unless you have dropped the white light is on. Then the power will run through here, through the G relay, the whole relay, through there, over to here, through the G relay again, and then on. So you can see that if any of these switches on the G relay are dirty, you wouldn't score the points right. So whenever we had the problem where the green one wasn't working, well, that would be this one. 1B is the green relay. So it could be that switch wasn't working right, or it could be that switch wasn't working right. This one's probably working right because we seem to be getting the 1,000 points for the white one. So if you've got the green relay dropped, whenever it gets to this position, that switch will open, so you won't get the fourth 1,000 points, or the fourth 1,000 points, but you will because this one's closed. This also proves our point that you should get 4,000 points. You should get 1,000 just for playing the game and landing in the hole. You should get another one for the purple relay if you've dropped it. You should get another one for the white relay if you've dropped it. And you should get another one for the green relay if you've dropped it. That's 4,000. Well, what's this one for? Why would that one open? All right, so whenever you go to that one, you're going to get your 5th 1,000 point, but you can't because they put a switch that opens at 4C. Now, why would they do that? It's because it doesn't say it gives you 5,000 points. It says it gives you 4,000 points. And they needed to do something to mark that one off. So they've made that switch that scores 5,000 points only score 4,000 points. And it only scores 1,000 points unless you have effectively dropped the relay that adds this one back in, and the relay that adds this one back in, and the relay that adds this one back in. And they've designed it in such a way that you can get 1,000, skip the next 2, and then get the next one. It's just, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I can't even believe that they would do that. It's brilliant. All right, now if our cleaning skills are brilliant, that ought to give us 4,000 points. Here we go. It's resetting. It's trying real hard. I think it might have it. Remember, we haven't done the score reels yet. Okay, so the purple one. I like what I'm seeing so far. The green one, oh, it's trying to cooperate. The white one, look at this. And the special even lit. So I should get 1,000 just for playing the game. And then it should move on, and when that thing goes to hit the second 1,000, because I've dropped that one, this one, the purple one, it should have short-circuited it and gave us that second one too. And then because I dropped this one, whenever it goes and hits the third time, since I've short-circuited it with the white relay, it should give us the 3,000 points, the third 1,000 points. And then when it gets to this one, it's going to skip it, but since I dropped the green relay, it should give us that fourth 1,000 points. And then when it gets to the fifth one, it's going to skip it because this doesn't say you get 5,000 points, it says you get 4,000 points. Bam! That's how you're supposed to do it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now let's see if this special is set on a free game like I think it is. Bam. Perfect. And so that's how all these features work in these games. It makes a ton of logical sense once you figure it out. But whenever you first look at it or you first look at the schematics, you go, what in the hell are they doing? There's wires everywhere. It doesn't make any sense. But then you start looking at the switches and just how everything's wired, and it's beautiful, really. Think about what's going on here. Some engineer came up with that all for the love of the game. It's because they wanted to make it fun, and they told somebody else, "Hey, I came up with this idea." They probably woke up in the middle of the night and thought of that. You know, it's freaking awesome. It's some of the best part of pinball is just figuring out how they designed it, why they designed it, and the little tricks that they pulled to make that work. And think about the significance of they had a cam down there that turns and hits 5 times. But they designed it to hit 4 times. Because that's what worked for this game. That's what made sense for this game. All right, so next time we'll talk about the drop targets, and we'll look over the rule set, and we'll play it a little bit. That'll be our last video on this one. But this is such a special game. Everybody enjoys this game because the rule set's so fun. I just wanted to spend a little extra time on showing off some of its unique rule features. And it's not that this is the only one like that. No, lots of EMs have little tricky little stuff like that in it where somebody just had a brilliant idea that on the face you look at it and it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, because now you can do that with a microcontroller, or just a little software script, and it's no big deal. But back then you literally just saw how they're making it work with freaking switches. Just switches that turn on and off and a motor that spins around. And they made it all work. Absolutely brilliant. So if you want to learn more about stuff like that, like we talked about earlier, check out our Patreon account where we'll show little clips of some of the stuff that we found like that over the years. And make sure to check out this video where we worked on another classic Gottlieb beautiful machine that had a similar genius to it. We'll see you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed it.